I arrived early in the morning to Sapa, maybe 7 after a long bus ride through the hills, winding up from Lao Kai, where the woman in front of me actually ended up getting carsick and, well, vomiting out the window with a little bit of spray back, but there we are. The excitement of the minibus at 7 in the morning. I arrived here to find a hotel overlooking Fansipan Mountain, so I can't really complain. And it really seems like quite a lovely place. It's really become a little bit of a hive for backpackers. In fact, it's quite reminiscent of maybe Dali up in the Yunnan province or Lijiang. I was asking the hotel manager where I stay now what it's been like, and he said over the last 10 years it's developed quite quickly. The global financial crisis has really caught up with them even here because the tourist numbers are way down, but you wouldn't know that from all of the construction that's going on around. It seems like every building, every hotel is busy constructing. I don't know if it's a new bit or what, but I guess they're taking advantage of the downturn to make things extra special for the tourists who come along. It is a bit out of the way. I don't know who exactly is coming up to Sapa, if they come directly from Hanoi expressly for that purpose, but actually it's quite convenient for people who are traveling between Kunming and Hanoi because it's just a 40-kilometer pop up the hill. Otherwise, Dien Bien Phu, where I guess there was a big battle, is also part of the triangle that people do in northern Vietnam. In any case, it's a beautiful, beautiful countryside. It's most known for ethnic minorities, in particular the Mao and the Zhao and the Hmong, and also the rice terraces. It's interesting because this area really doesn't seem any different from southern Yunnan province, and in fact, I'm sure that you wouldn't know the difference if it weren't for a fairly heavily guarded border. It's the mountains in the region that have really caused the development of the ethnic minorities and the different languages because it really inhibits travel, as I found out for myself today. I don't know exactly how many ethnic minorities there are in Vietnam. I think one of my colleagues was saying there were upwards of 40, and I'm honestly not sure how many of them are here in the Sapa region, but I would suspect quite a bit. One of the main specialty foods here in Sapa is the xuxu. It's also popular in many of the other mountainous northern regions of Vietnam and is a melon that grows on vines. Well, I thought this might be an interesting opportunity for a piece to camera. I'm sitting here among the xuxu melon vines, which in Vietnam they tend to not grow along the ground, but they cover the countryside with these vines. And as far as you can see down here, it's just vines, and it's easy to imagine how during many of the wars that have gone on over here, they've just used such a similar technique to camouflage, because for all intents and purposes it looks like ground cover, but actually they're about maybe 1.5 meters off the ground. So you can see I'm just barely able to pop my head out the top. Otherwise, I've been walking under under the shade of the melon, the xuxu, now for a couple kilometers. It's quite intense, this melon crop. Now the xuxu, they are little melons, maybe about yay big. I don't know if that puts it in perspective, but let's say about the size of my hand. They're green, they're not very sweet, they're quite soft, and have little seeds, so it's like it could almost be a winter melon, but much smaller. They're quite a specialty. When we were in Tam Dao, the participants in our workshop actually went and collected both the vines, because you can eat the vines. They cook them with garlic and stir fry. It's excellent. But they collected them to resell down in Hanoi with the organic, really good xuxu. Yeah, so here we are. Now let's see if we can make it up the rest of the mountain. I'm here in Sapa, in the northern highlands of Vietnam. You can see it's a bit of a place of mountains and mist and fog, and in that way there's quite an ephemeral, ethereal quality to it. And in that sense, it's, I think, a very appropriate place to offer a tribute to my late grandma,
Georgiana Smithers. Grandma Georgie, or Grandma Mimi as I used to call her when I was younger. I just found out passed away earlier this morning. Now, it's a bit unfortunate that the main memories that I have of Grandma Georgie are from maybe the last 10 years of my life, because that was when she came to Colorado for what was just any old 4th of July, and she ended up staying for, I think it was nearly a year, with hip replacement surgery gone wrong and bedridden for quite some time, but she was always smiling, always kind. And now, the reason it's unfortunate is because I always, from the stories I know of her and from the ones that she told me herself, she always seemed a bit of an adventurous spirit, always willing to take risks, do what was coming next. I mean, she was at Berkeley back when there weren't many women in universities, studying to be in the Foreign Affairs Department there, I believe, learning Russian, learning French. In that sense, I think that she would really appreciate this adventure, being out here in Sapa, seeing the world. So, this video is dedicated to the adventure, to the spirit of risk, and to life, really, especially one so full of stories, because there's one thing that Georgie was always up for, and that was a good story. So, may the story live on. Lots of love to all of you back in the US. Peace.